what's up? It's Richie here with Statifying Football. This is your preview for your primetime games on Saturday for Week 4. These are the games starting at 7:30 and later. There's only like 13 of them this late, so it should be a pretty quick one. First one starting off with Charlotte against Clemson. Charlotte's coming off a nice win against UMass. They won 52-17. Quarterback Chris Reynolds, 10 of 12, 155, 2 touchdowns. Backup quarterback came in, former USF Bowl Brett Keane, 3 for 3, 40 yards and a touchdown. Running back Benny LeMay ran for 113. They did run for 338 yards. Their defense had 5 sacks, a pick 6, and only had 262 total yards. Whereas Clemson coming off a pretty big win against Syracuse, 41-6. Trevor Lawrence, 395, 3 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 picks for the second time this year in only 3 games. So he's got to get those down. He did add 42 rushing yards and a touchdown. They did have 2 guys go over 100 yards receiving. T. Higgins, 7 catches, 150. Amari Rodgers, 4 catches, 121, and 2 touchdowns. They had 612 yards of offense. Their defense had 8 sacks, and they only allowed 187. This is probably... I'm not that high on Clemson. I think they're not that good. They might lose a couple games, but I don't think this will be one of them. All right, one of the games of the day, one of the ones I'm looking forward to. I love shootouts, and this has the makings of it. Oklahoma State taking on Texas. Oklahoma State, they just beat Tulsa 40-21, but they did struggle. They were down 21-28 at halftime. They gave up a lot of yards to Tulsa. They gave up 396 yards to a decent Tulsa team. So Texas could have their way with them. Quarterback Spencer Sanders, he was fine. 169, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Added 59 yards rushing and a touchdown. But there are 2 other guys. They're running back Chuba Hubbard, 256 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Tylan Wallace, who I think should win the Blitnikoff this year and should have won it last year, 5 catches, 118, a touchdown. By the way, that touchdown, a 90-yarder. West Texas demolished Rice, 48-13. Sam Mellinger, 23-27, 279, 3 touchdowns, 509 yards. Both teams had 3 sacks. So there might be some sacks in this game, but I expect a lot of points. A lot of points. Like 40 minimum for each. If they don't both reach 40, I will be disappointed. I think I ended up picking Texas there, but it literally could go either way. San Jose State taking on Arkansas. San Jose State's coming off a bye. The last game they lost to Tulsa 34-16. They didn't really have a whole lot going. Josh Love passed for 189 and a touchdown. The defense gave up 539 to that Tulsa team I just mentioned a minute ago. Whereas Arkansas is coming off a bittersweet win against Colorado State, 55-34, but they were tied at 34. Now Colorado State has a really good offense. But they were tied at 34 going into the 4th quarter, but Arkansas was able to put them away. Nick Starkel started the game, 305 passing, 3 touchdowns. Rakeem Boyd, who used to be on Last Chance U a couple years ago, ran for 122 and 2 touchdowns. They had 520 total. Defense had 3 sacks and a fumble return for a touchdown, but they did give up 425 yards. However, I don't think that will cost them in this game. I think Arkansas should roll over San Jose State, I should say. UTSA and North Texas. So UTSA is Texas San Antonio. They lost to Army 31-13. They only ran for 51 yards. They had 3 turnovers. Their defense did force 2 turnovers, but they gave up 340 rushing yards too. Army's a really good team and a triple option team, so those 340 yards is most of their offense. But they're facing a pretty tough offense in North Texas, who's coming off a close loss to Cal, 23-17. They were down 20-0 after the first quarter, but they pretty much held their own and came back. Mason Fine, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, at least in the group of 5, did well enough, 210 passing, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And they did outgain Cal, actually, 329 to 278. The defense had 6 sacks in that game. And I think they should blow out UTSA. All right, one of the games of the day, maybe the game of the day, you got Notre Dame and Georgia. Notre Dame, they beat New Mexico 66-14. Ian Book, 360 passing, 5 touchdown passes, 591 total. Their defense forced for 4 turnovers, a pick 6. However, here's the key that I think to this game. New Mexico ran for 212 yards, and they gave up 363 to New Mexico. Whereas Georgia has all the talent, they might run all over Notre Dame. Who knows? Georgia's coming off a 55-0 win over Arkansas State. Fromm was 279, 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Dominic Blaylock, 4 catches, 112, 1 touchdown. They outgained the other team, Arkansas State, 656 to 260, or 656, and had 256 rushing yards. Their defense had 4 sacks and only allowed 220 total yards. I'm leaning Georgia here. If Notre Dame is giving up that much rushing to New Mexico, Georgia might just run for 424, whatever. All right, you got Nevada and UTEP. Nevada kind of struggled their way against 1AA Weber. They only beat them 19-13. Carson Strong, he passed for a lot of yards, 299, but he threw 2 interceptions, which is in part why they didn't score more and blow them out. They ran for 153. They had 3 total turnovers. I'm going to shout out their kicker. Why not? Brandon Talton. He was 4 for 4 on field goals. Their defense played well enough. They only gave up the 13. They only gave up 137 yards. And I'm not too worried about them this week because they played UTEP, which is Texas El Paso, who's coming off a bye, but their last game was a loss 38-3 to Texas Tech. They had 2 quarterbacks in a game. In that game combined, 7 for 19 for 54 yards. That's it. They only ran for 77. They only had 131 total yards. Nevada could honestly sleepwalk this game also and get 4 field goals and win. All right, Nebraska and Illinois. This is an interesting game because Nebraska, as people thought, is better this year, but Illinois kind of is a surprise this year. They're 2-1. They could be 3-0. They lost to Eastern Michigan. Illinois did 34-31. Brandon Peters, 297, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Reggie Corbin ran for 144 and a touchdown. They had 464 total yards. But they did turn it over twice, and their defense gave up 480 yards. Whereas Nebraska killed Northern Illinois 44-8. Quarterback AJ Martinez, 257, 2 touchdowns, plus 44 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Dedrick Mills, running back, transfer from Georgia Tech, ran for 116 and a touchdown. They ran for 238. However, their defense did give up 350, and Illinois has shown this year they can actually move it pretty decently. So this is I think, could be a closer game. A lot of people might be overlooking this. I got Nebraska, but it's in Illinois. Who knows, man? All right, another really interesting. There's a lot of awesome matchups. Another one, Colorado, Arizona State. Colorado's coming off an upset loss to Air Force, 30-23. Steven Montez passed for 220, 2 touchdowns and a pick. One of the best receivers in the country you guys have never heard of, Laviska Shenault, 8 catches, 124 and a touchdown. They only ran for 105. The defense forced 3 turnovers, but they gave up 444 yards and 289 rushing yards. Now, Air Force is more of a triple option team, but that's still a lot to give up. But they can move it on offense. Whereas Arizona State won kind of a head scratcher. They beat Michigan State 10-7. It was an upset, but they were outgained 404 yards to 216. They didn't run for 100 yards. Their quarterback was subpar. I know how Michigan State lost. There was a field goal at the end where they tried to tie it. They made it, but they were called for a penalty. Too many men on the field. They got backed up 5 yards. So Michigan State missed the kick, and they lost 10-7. Arizona State won 10-7. Arizona State is 3-0 and ranked. I think I went with Colorado in that game, but Arizona State at least has a good defense. They've shown that in the first couple of games. Kind of bend but don't break. All right, Fresno State coming off a bye. They lost in double overtime their last game a couple of weeks ago to Minnesota, 38-35. Jorge Reyna passed for 288, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. One of them cost them the game. They only ran for 57 yards. Their defense did have 4 sacks and 3 turnovers, and they're taking on 1AA Sacramento State. I think Fresno should have this no problem. Fresno's weird. They're 0-2. They lost to USC the first game, who's okay, and lost to Minnesota, who's 3-0. So 2 losses aren't that bad. Their 2 losses aren't that bad. You got Toledo, Colorado State. This, I think, might be a shootout. Nobody knows about this one. Toledo, they beat 1AA Murray, 45-0. Mitchell Guadani passed for 266, 3 touchdowns. They ran for 190. They had 538 yards. Their defense forced 2 turnovers, but did give up 331 yards. Whereas Colorado State, they lost to Arkansas, but they lost 55-34. They put up 34 points. If I'm not mistaken, in their 3 games, they put up like 31 or more in each of them. They were tied at 34 going into the fourth quarter. They had two QBs come in because Colin Hill, I think, got hurt part of it. Patrick O'Brien came in, did well. The two quarterbacks did combine 20 of 33, 205, 2 touchdowns. Marvin Kinsey Jr. went off, 180 rushing yards and a touchdown. They ran for 220. They did have 2 turnovers, but they put up 425. However, their defense did give up 520 to Arkansas. That's why I think this might be a shootout. This could be 38-35 kind of, maybe higher. Who knows? This could keep y'all up late. All right, UCLA taking on Washington State. This game could get ugly. I was high on UCLA coming in to the season, and they suck. I mean, Oklahoma's great. But they got killed by Oklahoma, 48-14. Their quarterback passed for 201, 2 touchdowns, 2 pick. Thomas Robinson only ran for 110, only put up 311. They turned it over twice. They gave up 611. Whereas Washington State, Mike Leach has that offense running, humming, whatever, all that. They got it going. Anthony Gordon, they beat Houston 31-24. Anthony Gordon, 440 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick. Wide receiver Brandon Arconado, 9 catches, 115. They put up 49. They did give up 367, but UCLA is not very good on offense, which sucks to say that for a Chip Kelly team. Anthony Gordon, little fact there. Third quarterback in NCAA history to start his first 3 games with over 400 passing yards and at least 3 touchdown passes. The other 2 people, a couple years ago, a guy named Patrick Mahomes, who played at Texas Tech under Cliff Kingsbury, who used to play under Mike Leach, and the other one, Graham Harrell, who was a quarterback directly under Mike Leach at Texas Tech in 07-08, somewhere around there. So, and this Washington State team is a Mike Leach team. So, those 3 records, all Mike Leach's hands all over them. Alright, you got a pretty interesting Mountain West matchup here. Utah State against San Diego State. Utah State has that high-flying passing offense with Jordan Love. They're coming off a bye, but the week before they beat Stony Brook 62-7. Jordan Love, 294, a touchdown. The backup came in, Henry Colombi, 8 or 9, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. Running back Jalen Warren, 105, rushing, 2 touchdowns, 325 total, 717 yards of offense. They did have 9 penalties. Their defense gave up 263. Whereas San Diego State has always been more of a running team, not triple option, but just more of a running team and great defense. Case in point, they beat New Mexico State 31-10. Their quarterback Ryan Agnew only passed for like 116, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but they had 2 100-yard rushers, right? And Juwan Washington was not one of them. He's kind of hurt. I'm not sure if he's going to play in this game, but Jordan Bird ran for 118, 2 touchdowns. Chance Bell ran for 116 and a touchdown. They ran for 281. Their defense had 6 sacks, 4 turnovers, and only allowed 30 rushing yards. This could be a really interesting kind of cat and mouse game. Really good offense against really good defense. San Diego State, they want to keep it away from that high-flying offense in Utah State. This one, it could be pretty fun. And the final one, the Midnighter, Window Central Arkansas facing off Hawaii. Hawaii lost their first game of the year against Washington, 52-20. Cole McDonald, really bad game again. I say again because he threw 3 interceptions. 218, 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions. They did put up 395 yards against a really stout Washington team. I think they should get this going at least here. Cole McDonald has to cut down on those interceptions, though, because he had 4 in the first game, but 4 touchdowns. Then the next game he had 4 touchdowns and 1 pick. Then this game 1 touchdown, 3 picks. So that puts him at, I can't do math, 4, 8, 9, 9 to 8. Like 9 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. 9 touchdowns is great through 3 games. 8 interceptions not. But hopefully he gets that right here, which he should. So those are my primetime games. Check out all my other games. Check out my NFL games, my picks, everything. Like, subscribe, please comment, please tell people this is great. Peace.